These two were the topic of conversation. Who's the better player?
She's not nearly the player that Caitlin Clark is.
Caitlin scored more points per game, but Paige was more efficient.
Needle mover in women's basketball, college or pro, is Caitlin Clark. NBA player claims white America hasn't embraced Paige Bueckers like Caitlin Clark.
The idea that Juju and Paige have not been covered is just false.
The war between Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark just took a shocking new turn, and the media is at the center of the controversy. A recent article has accused white America of favoring Caitlin Clark while turning its back on Paige Bueckers, sparking a heated debate that has fans absolutely furious.
We're not creating this rivalry. We're not saying they hate each other, but they are two of the best in the game right now.
We want to see Caitlin Clark and we want to see Paige Bueckers.
But is this really about race, or is there a deeper reason why Clark has become the face of women's basketball?
The reason that Caitlin Clark is getting all of this attention is because she is an anomaly. She is a phenomenal player. And Paige Bueckers is also a phenomenal player, but it just isn't the same. She doesn't do the same things. She doesn't do the things that have never been seen.
Today, we're exposing the truth behind this media-driven battle, breaking down the real reasons behind the massive gap in support, and diving into the wild fan reactions that are setting social media on fire.
Why hasn't Middle America given Paige Bueckers the Caitlin Clark treatment?
Paige Bueckers is woke as hell. She's gonna come into the league and join the WNBA activism. She's probably not gonna be embraced over that because we are sick of it.
Stay tuned. This one's about to get explosive. The media has once again ignited a firestorm in women's basketball, this time pitting Paige Bueckers against Caitlin Clark in a battle that fans never asked for. A recent article published by The Guardian has suggested that white America has embraced Caitlin Clark while turning its back on Paige Bueckers, all because of their differing stances on social activism.
A lot of Caitlin Clark fans, and so many of them are not white. It's just insulting to assume that that's the case to the people that aren't white, to the Black Americans that do love Caitlin Clark.
But is there any truth to this claim, or is it just another attempt to stir controversy and create division?
What happened is Caitlin Clark, in her sophomore year and really in her junior year, just started excelling and doing things that nobody had ever seen a female basketball player do. Like, nobody had consistently been shooting these from the logo passes.
To understand this media-driven narrative, let's go back to Paige Bueckers' 2021 ESPY speech. At that time, Bueckers stood on stage and declared that Black women were the backbone of women's basketball, a statement that, while intended to uplift, sparked debate among fans.
The light that I have now as a white woman who leads a Black-led sport and celebrated here, I want to show a light on Black women. They don't get the media coverage that they deserve.
Some praised her for using her platform to highlight racial issues, while others felt that the speech was unnecessary and out of place in a sports awards show. Fast forward to today, and the media is now using that moment to suggest that Bueckers was abandoned by fans for standing up for social justice, while Caitlin Clark, who has mostly stayed out of activism, has been embraced as the golden girl of basketball.
And as long as she comes in the league and she joins the likes of Dejanay Carrington and all these others that are always promoting some kind of activism, she's not going to know. Why? Because sports fans want to watch damn sports.
But here's the reality. The reason Clark has skyrocketed in popularity isn't about race. It's about performance. Caitlin Clark has completely redefined women's basketball with her record-breaking stats, deep three-pointers, and electrifying play style.
And the way that she brought a pretty average Iowa team to bring them to the championship, not once but twice. She was an underdog story. And Paige Bueckers, for as great as she is not an underdog.
While Bueckers has had flashes of brilliance, she's struggled with injuries and hasn't been able to dominate the game the way Clark has. Yet, instead of acknowledging this simple truth, the media is pushing a racial narrative to explain the difference in fan support. And fans aren't having it.
All they can think to do is infer, insinuate racism. Just claim racism. Ratings explode.
Instead of fueling unnecessary division, many have called out the hypocrisy of the media, pointing out that Caitlin Clark's popularity isn't about race, but rather her once-in-a-generation talent. Meanwhile, others have noted that if the roles were reversed, if Clark had been the one making activist statements while Bueckers dominated the court, the media would likely be saying the exact opposite.
Eaton Thomas contrasts how white Americans view the two based on stark differences in speaking out against racial injustice. Quote, perhaps it's because, unlike Clark, Bueckers has always been outspoken about issues off the court, Thomas wrote in a Guardian article. At the 2021 ESPYs, Bueckers was named the College Athlete of the Year. She used her acceptance speech to celebrate and honor black women in particular. In Bueckers' famous ESPYs speech, she used her platform to recognize those who didn't get the same recognition as her, specifically highlighting black women. While black America cheered Bueckers, it seemed like mainstream white America, a demographic once viewed her as, in her words, a media darling, weren't signaling out her praises. Is it a coincidence, or maybe because her injuries have made people forget her greatness as an athlete? But she's back from injury, and now why aren't people focused on Bueckers as they were Clark last year when she was tearing up college basketball? Maybe if Bueckers had delivered a more vanilla ESPY speech, things would be different. This is a completely embarrassing article. Caitlin Clark is a worldwide phenomenon whose playing style has drawn a level of hype that hasn't been seen in basketball in a decade.
This isn't the first time the media has tried to manufacture drama in women's basketball, and it definitely won't be the last. But in this case, the attempt to turn Paige Bueckers versus Caitlin Clark into a racial controversy is falling flat, because the truth is right in front of us.
Sold out games after game after game. She had a connection with those people that was special. She carried that connection and that fan base to the WNBA. She dominated. Oh, she's being denied something. That y'all better treat her like Caitlin Clark. So how can we treat her like Caitlin Clark? She's in a different body of water.
If the media wants to push a narrative that Caitlin Clark is only more popular because of white America, then they're deliberately ignoring the obvious. Clark has simply outperformed Paige Bueckers on every level. This isn't about activism, race, or favoritism. It's about stats, consistency, and impact on the game.
Caitlin Clark has taken women's college basketball by storm. It's because she's white, and all of her fans are white, and they're all racist.
Let's break it down. Caitlin Clark has shattered records in a way we haven't seen in women's basketball before. She became the all-time leading scorer in surpassing Kelsey Plum, and did it with a playing style that is both electrifying and dominant. Her deep three-pointers, court vision, and ability to take over games have turned her into a generational talent, someone who can literally carry a team to victory.
I'm looking forward to seeing Caitlin Clark play. That are mad she's on national TV. They're going to brutalize her again.
Meanwhile, Paige Bueckers, while undeniably skilled, has faced significant injury setbacks that have prevented her from reaching the same level of consistency. Clark's numbers speak for themselves. She's dropping 30-plus points per game on a regular basis, hitting logo threes like they're free throws, and dishing out assists that leave fans speechless. Her dominance extends beyond just the college level. She's been a major factor in boosting WNBA ratings and overall interest in women's basketball.
Like, Caitlin Clark doesn't happen entirely organically. There's a push. What Angel Reese did, she created what people truly need, which is a rivalry.
Angel Reese has done that and did that for Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, and I do think she helped. Without Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark wouldn't be as big as she is.
Caitlin Clark also blew up before the Angel Reese thing. That is a myth. She blew up before. Go look at the ratings for the games before then. Go look at the attendance for the games before then. It was already an organic thing.
The excitement she brings to the game is unmatched, and fans gravitate toward that. On the other hand, Paige Bueckers had an incredible freshman season, winning National Player of the Year and showing flashes of superstardom. But after that, injuries derailed her career for nearly 2 seasons. By the time she returned, Clark had already taken over as the face of women's basketball. This isn't about who speaks up more on social issues, it's about who has been consistently on the court, putting in the work, and making history. The reality is simple. Sports fans support greatness.
Don't you realize these black girls all paved the road that she's traveling, that these black women built the WNBA, that these black women carried women's basketball, and now all the racists love women's basketball because they're racist and they have Caitlin Clark. Just not true.
When LeBron James took over the NBA, fans didn't suddenly abandon other players. They gravitated toward him because he was changing the game. The same thing is happening with Caitlin Clark. She isn't being pushed by white America. She's being celebrated for delivering jaw-dropping performances night after night.
ESPN exposed again. Ratings down 22%. Attendance down 30%. No Caitlin Clark effect, no dice.
If Bueckers had Clark's impact, media presence, and dominance, she'd be getting the same level of attention. But instead of acknowledging this, some media outlets are trying to rewrite the story, acting as if Clark's success is unfair or undeserved. The truth is, Clark's rise isn't about who she is off the court, it's about what she does on it. And that's why fans support her in ways that Paige Bueckers simply hasn't experienced.
The light that I have now as a white woman who leads a black-led sport and celebrated here, I want to show a light on black women. They don't get the media coverage that they deserve. They've given so much to the sport and the community and society as a whole, and their value is undeniable. The WNBA, last season, the postseason awards, 80% of the winners were black, but they got half the coverage as the white athletes. So I think it's time for change. Sports media holds the key to storylines. Sports media and sponsors tell us who is valuable, and you have told the world that I matter today, and everyone who voted, thank you. But I think we should use this power together to also celebrate black women.
The media's attempt to create division is backfiring because most fans see what's really happening. And the divide between these two players isn't fueled by race, it's fueled by performance. The media may be trying to manufacture a rivalry between Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark, but fans aren't buying it. Instead, social media has erupted with passionate debates, fiery takes, and outright rejection of the race-driven narrative being pushed. Twitter, Reddit, and sports forums have become battlegrounds, with fans clashing over whether this so-called divide even exists, or if it's simply another attempt to stir controversy in women's basketball. Many fans have taken to social media to shut down the media's claims, arguing that Caitlin Clark's rise has nothing to do with race or activism and everything to do with her insane performances on the court. One user posted, "How is this even a debate?"
She knows, like a lot of white players in the WNBA know, and they've said it, Kelsey Plum, Breanna Stewart, is that they get elevated, they get marketed, they get pushed in a way that black women in that league who have accomplished similar things do not get the same endorsement opportunities, the same marketing. Clear, they were not fans of women's basketball, but Caitlin Clark became their avatar. She became their vessel to express a lot of the hateful and racist opinions that they had about black women, about queer women, and about the WNBA overall.
Clark has put up GOAT-level numbers and changed the game. This is about skill, not skin color. Another fan pointed out, Paige was out with injuries for 2 years. Clark was out here breaking records. What do you expect?
Yo, man, we should be talking about her the way we talked about Caitlin Clark last year.
People will hate Caitlin Clark for any reason and make it about race.
We got Caitlin, we got Paige, we got Juju. Who do you think will shine the brightest?
Well, that's exactly why I'm not picking Caitlin Clark.
Others are calling out the hypocrisy of the media, questioning why they are suddenly framing Paige Bueckers as a victim when, in reality, she has been widely celebrated throughout her career. Some fans have dug up old interviews and highlights showing that Bueckers was once hyped as the next big thing in women's basketball before injuries slowed her down. One viral post read, "They loved Paige when she was the face of the sport. Now that Clark has taken over, they're acting like she was abandoned. Give me a break."
ESPN notes that the viewership for the first round was up 43% from 2023, with an average of 257,000 people watching the first 2 days, but it leaves out the record-breaking viewership from last year, where viewership averaged 469,000 in the 2024 first round. That number was boosted by a whopping 3.2 million tuning in to Caitlin Clark and Iowa's 91-65 win over Holy Cross. The difference between this year and last year represents a nearly 22% drop. ESPN is literally scared. They can't stand Caitlin Clark.
Then, of course, there are Paige Bueckers fans who argue that she doesn't get enough credit for her talent and leadership. They claim that Clark has been given an unfair level of attention simply because she plays for Iowa and takes long-range shots that get media coverage. Some argue that if Bueckers had been fully healthy, she would be just as dominant as Clark. One Bueckers supporter tweeted, "Paige was the best player in the country before her injuries. If she had Clark's opportunities, she'd be just as big. The media chooses who they want to push."
Caitlin Clark is the GOAT.
She signed my jersey. So happy, I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
Caitlin Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
I love watching her score and just everything about her.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
This is great news for women's basketball. Period.
She just brings so much passion to the game, and look at all these people that just want to come and see her.
It is no secret that the Indiana Fever are the most popular team in the WNBA. It is good for the entire WNBA.
This argument has led to heated exchanges between fans, with some outright dismissing the idea that Bueckers was robbed of her moment. Many counter by saying that sports are about meritocracy, and Clark has simply earned the spotlight through record-breaking performances and must-watch games. One fiery comment summed it up. "This isn't kindergarten where everyone gets a turn. Clark put in the work, stayed healthy, and delivered. Stop making excuses."
Women's March Madness attendance drops 30%. Attendance for the opening rounds of the Women's March Madness dropped from record numbers seen the previous 2 years when Caitlin Clark spiked interest in the tournament while leading Iowa to consecutive Final Fours. What the hell happened to 2024? Where's those numbers? Why are you not talking about it? We know why, because they don't want to come out and just admit the ratings are real down without Caitlin Clark.
Beyond fan debates, sports analysts and commentators have also weighed in, with some pushing back against the Guardians' take. ESPN analyst Jay Williams addressed the controversy saying, "I get it, people want to make everything about race, but this isn't one of those cases. Clark is just playing at an all-time great level. If Bueckers was doing this, she'd be getting the same attention." Other analysts have highlighted that Clark's media presence isn't just due to her performances, it's also because of her personality, leadership, and ability to handle pressure on the biggest stage. But despite the backlash, the media continues to fuel the fire, with certain outlets trying to spin the narrative that Paige Bueckers was overlooked due to her activism.
If I was the WNBA, I would have considered a separate television package to a network on just Caitlin Clark games. I would have had two packages, the WNBA package, and then a separate, let's say 15 to 18 game Caitlin Clark package.
They framed the debate as if Clark's rise is due to systemic favoritism rather than her actual dominance on the court. The bottom line? Fans are tired of forced narratives. They're not buying the idea that Clark is only popular because of race, and they're not falling for the attempt to turn Bueckers into a media victim.
Whether you like the Indiana Fever or not, whether you like Caitlin Clark or not, it has gotten to the point where we can no longer deny the fact that they are the biggest draw in the WNBA, and they proved that all of last season.
The truth is, women's basketball has room for multiple superstars, but success is earned, not handed out. Clark has put in the work, and that's why she's at the top. No amount of media spin is going to change that. At the end of the day, Paige Bueckers versus Caitlin Clark is a debate fueled by the media, not by reality. While both players are incredibly talented and have earned their places among the greats, the idea that there is some deep-rooted divide between them or their fan bases is largely exaggerated. Clark's dominance is undeniable, and while Bueckers remains a phenomenal player, injuries kept her from reaching the same level of impact in recent years. But what's even more frustrating is how the media continues to manipulate narratives to fit their agenda. The claim that Bueckers was abandoned in favor of Clark, completely misleading.
The league wasn't ready for her last year. They just weren't prepared. Yeah. She was prepared.
She's had a full offseason now to rest.
No. She's going to be great. The league just didn't know what to do.
The idea that Clark's success is solely due to race? A weak argument that disrespects both players' hard work and talent. Instead of celebrating both as generational stars, the media is trying to pit them against each other, creating unnecessary tension in women's basketball. The fans, however, aren't falling for it. The basketball community knows the truth. Caitlin Clark has earned her moment through record-breaking performances, and Paige Bueckers is still a force to be reckoned with when healthy. Rather than creating fake drama, the focus should be on celebrating the rise of women's basketball as a whole. Because let's be real, the sport is bigger than just one player. So what do you think? Is this really a rivalry, or is the media just stirring the pot? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more updates on the biggest stories in basketball.